And I'm gonna start recording to the cloud here. Yeah, so how many, have any of you conducted a Birdathon before, or a fundraiser like a Birdathon?
I've done fundraisers, but not a Birdathon.
Same here, Luke. I've done fundraisers like Relay for Life, but not the Birdathon.
Yeah, it's fairly similar to that. So like, my kids every year, they do a swimathon for their swim team. And so they'll swim laps, and however, they reach out to grandparents and other friends and family that they have and try to raise money for their swim team based on how many laps that they swim. And so Tucson Audubon's Birdathon is really similar to that. And but instead of counting laps, it's counting birds. And so we raise critical funds for the work that Tucson Audubon does through this fundraising. It is really a fun fundraising campaign that we do every year. So that's what we're going to talk about today is Birdathon. I guess I should probably introduce myself too. Met most of you, but I have not met all of you. My name is Luke Safford, and I'm the Community Engagement Manager for Tucson Audubon. And so that means I coordinate a few different things along with these virtual events and Birdathon. Also coordinate our Southeast Arizona Birding Festival, our volunteer program. So if you volunteer with us, you usually have conversation with me and reporting hours to me and all sorts of good things there. Our field trip programs, our field trips are open now for March. They're filling up fast, but you can definitely get on a field trip for the month of March if you want to coordinate those. So if you have any other questions about Tucson Audubon, I'd love to talk about what we do. Our mission is to inspire people to protect and enjoy birds. And one way we do that is through the Birdathon. So what I want to start off today is talking a little bit about, before we get into how to put together your Birdathon and all that, talk about the why of what we're doing. So I'm going to share my screen, PowerPoint here, just for a little bit, and share a couple things. It's really important to know why we're doing it. So what you're looking at right here, it says Tucson Audubon in an eggshell. This is something that we came up with a couple of years ago that I think helps us to really be able to put into words and have, it's an easy way to remember what Tucson Audubon does. So when we raise money for Tucson Audubon through Birdathon, this is what that money is going to. And to have the best Birdathon possible, it's important. The foundation is to know what you're actually raising money for. So conservation, advocacy, restoration, and engagement, those things, you think about, what does Tucson Audubon do? It cares for birds. And so you can think of care, conservation, advocacy, restoration, engagement.
The volume's so low, I can't.
There we go. And so when people ask you, where's this money going? You can say, well, it's going to help Tucson Audubon as they study and protect wild birds and their habitats. And how do we do that? By doing bird surveys, putting out nest boxes, doing the Tucson bird count, working with other agencies with important bird areas. We do advocacy work like along the San Pedro River, open space protection, planting pollinator gardens for restoration, taking out invasive plants, putting in more native habitat. And then all of our engagement things that we do, like the Patton Center for Hummingbirds, taking care of that place, all of our youth and adult education events, again, Habitat at Home, our field trips. So everything all the money that we raise through Birdathon goes to inspire people to protect and enjoy birds. And these are the ways that we do it. And that's a vital part of knowing why we're actually even raising money or doing a Birdathon is that right there. And so that normally, like when you ask people to give money to something, they want to know what that's going to. And so that's a foundation, really. Any questions on like Yeah, I want to invite you to ask any questions throughout this whole thing. So feel free to jump in since it's just a small group. But any questions about what we do or where that money goes? No questions. All right. Well, also the why for Birdathon, besides just raising money for those critical things that we do, what I like about Birdathon is the involvement piece of it. So normally it's just a small group of people who are involved in raising money or funds for different nonprofits. What I like about Birdathon and different fundraisers like Birdathon is it involves a wider, bigger group of people. So like many of us here, normally, you know, fundraising and development is not our thing, but this actually gets us into it and makes us realize that yes, it is our thing. It's also, you know, if we're members of Tucson Audubon, it's our responsibility. It's an opportunity to be involved in it.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
And here, let me do here. Yeah, that's all right. Okay. And so getting involved, it actually like pushes people to get involved, and I like that a lot. It raises awareness. So many of the people that we're going to be reaching out to ask for donations to Tucson Audubon normally wouldn't be people who would be involved with birding, or, you know, if not involved with birding, but involved with Tucson Audubon. So I know we'll talk about this a little bit later when it comes to being creative with your donors, is thinking about all those different people in your life that normally, you know, they know you love birds, but they wouldn't really be involved with it, or they wouldn't really know or understand or think about what it is that Tucson Audubon does or what you care about. This is your opportunity to increase their awareness of all the different conservation things that you're involved in, all the different, you know, types of birds that are out there. You know, there's many people who just don't even know that there are Gila woodpeckers around, but it gives you an opportunity to raise their awareness for birds and for conservation. And I think that's really important because we want to cast a wide net, broaden the spectrum of people who care about birds. And also, it's just a lot of fun. We'll talk about what your Birdathon could look like, but many times my Birdathons, they are not just about the birds, but it's also about the people that I do the Birdathon with. You know, last year was a little different. These are all pictures from different Birdathons that I've done throughout the years. This will be, let's see, 16, 17, 18, 19. This will be my fifth year of doing the Tucson Audubon Birdathon. Last year was just me and my son. We went birding all day to see how many birds we could see in one day. This is him in the bottom right corner, looking for birds with his eyes closed while we were driving. I took that picture of him without his knowledge, and he'd probably be mad at me if I showed that picture, but he doesn't know. He fell asleep, long day. This picture, smaller picture in the middle, this is me and our development director, Keith Ashley, and a couple friend and my son, Brock. This is the first year of me doing the Tucson Audubon Birdathon back in 2016. And so over here on the left, this is at Sweetwater Wetlands with a group of people that I did the Birdathon with a few years ago. Specifically at Sweetwater, we wanted to count how many birds at Sweetwater we could find in one day. And so we all gathered together and spent a huge chunk of day at Sweetwater. That was tons of fun. And then up here in the top right, this is me and a couple of my friends. This is Ken Blankenship, a bird guide down in Sierra Vista. And some of you might recognize this guy on the left. This is Jonathan Lutz, our executive director, before he was our executive director. He'd probably get a good laugh out of me using this picture. But this is us wrapping up our day at Burger King and Wilcox after a big day of seeing how many birds we could find just in Cochise County, and specifically raising awareness for the work that Tucson Audubon does in Cochise County. That was an awesome day. But Birdathon, you know, it's not just birds, it's also people. And so how to make your Birdathon the best? Well, think about the people, not just the people you're doing the Birdathon with, but the people who are involved as donors, the other people who are conducting Birdathons around you, knowing that you're part of something bigger and inviting people into that. That really is the key. Those two things, like knowing why we're doing it and involving other people in it and inviting them. You know, people always like to get invited to do something most of the time. And so this is something that we can invite people into, and, you know, it really spurs people to action. So what I'd like to do right now is talk about how to actually make the Birdathon happen. What are your first steps to get signed up and to get going on this? We want to make sure we're not intimidated by the setup. This is a picture of a white-crowned sparrow here. You know, some people are intimidated by identifying sparrows. Don't be intimidated, just have fun with it. This adult white crown makes it a little bit easier because it's the white and black just kind of sticks out. The younger immatures maybe a little bit tougher because they don't have the white crown. But Birdathon is not hard. It's actually pretty easy to set up. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to our Birdathon site. And as I do that, are any questions up to this point?
You know, Luke, I don't have a question so much as I was interested in joining a team.
Marcia, that's great. And we'll talk about that for sure.
Okay.
I have an idea for a team that maybe you'd want to join in, but depending on what type of team you're looking for, we need people to create teams too. So
Okay.
we'll talk about that.
All right.
I think that's a good thing, and we'll cover that, Marcia. Thanks. So to start off with creating your Birdathon page, your Birdathon whole shindig thing, you start off here at the Tucson Audubon website. A lot of people start right here, so I just want to show you Tucson Audubon website. And underneath this news and events right here, there's an important page, and it's Birdathon 2021. So you just go and click on Birdathon 2021. And you wait a little bit for it to actually pop up here, I guess. So some of the nuts and bolts of this. So we're asking people to conduct a Birdathon sometime between April 9th and May 9th. Some people do a Birdathon for a whole month. Most people just pick a day and conduct a Birdathon on that day. But there's no specific rules on whether you pick one day or 1 week or 1 month. We just want people to do it within this time frame. Why April 9th through May 9th? Well, April tends to be, in first part of May, tend to be when we have our greatest variety of bird species in Southeast Arizona. So that makes it more exciting when there's more species to be seen. Some would say that August, September might get more variety, but also April tends to be a little bit cooler than August and September. So that makes it easier too. So our page is all up and running. So registration open on the 16th. And I like to get started early just because it gives us more opportunity to be creative and invite, it gives us plenty of time to, you know, make sure we give our invitations to people to join us. You can see it right here. Here's a little bit about the why and the what we're doing, why we do this, where the money goes. And then to start to create your own team or to join a team, I'll talk about that too, Marcia. So to create your own team, you would click on this button right here. And what that does is that'll take you to a sign up page, and you'll just fill out all of this information and just follow it as, you know, as it kind of leads you. And so it'll lead you through all that. You'll start it up. It'll send you a follow-up email saying thank you for signing up for Birdathon. And then that follow-up email will have a little link in it for you to click on to go and set up your actual fundraising page. Now, I could take you through all that. That would take a little bit of time. So what I would suggest you do is clicking on this little how-to video down here, just underneath these 3 buttons. And our membership coordinator, Diana Rosenblum, takes you through step-by-step how to create your team and then how to create your fundraising page. Creating your fundraising page is one of the important steps to actually allow people to give donations to your team. And I'll show you that. But this little tutorial here will lead you through all that. It's fairly easy. You'll want to be prepared to have a picture to go on your fundraising page, a little description of what your Birdathon goal and the description of what you're going to be doing on there. And I'll show you that here. Once you get everything signed up and watch this video and follow through all those steps, you're going to end up with a fundraising page. And so that fundraising page can be seen right here on this team donation pledge. Let's see if I can click on that. So you'll end up getting one of these fundraising pages. You'll put together one. Some people have already started putting together their pages, and some people have already started getting people donating to them. See, this is Nancy from London. She's already raised over $300 and has everything set up. And you can see, we'll take you to mine. I haven't raised any money yet, but just so you can see an example of what it looks like. As you follow the steps to register for Birdathon, this will be kind of your end result of what it'll look like. You'll have a picture, you'll have a description of what you're doing. You can see my son and I are going to be doing this together. Our team name is called the King Birders because we love kingbirds, and my son thinks he's the king birder. And so our idea is that we're going to go and do another big day, and we don't have the date or the route set yet. And it's a little description, and you can see there's a way for people to pledge. We'll talk about that, or to just donate. They can donate right there, or this big green button right here. And then as people donate, that'll show up down here. I'll show you what it looks like from last year. So, okay, well, this is this year. You can see our goal for this year is $43,000. We've already raised over $1,000. Last year, oh, there we go. Last year, our goal was $40,000, and we raised $59,000 for Tucson Audubon. Isn't that awesome?
That's great.
These are all the different teams that you can see. There was a lot of teams last year. It's like 3 pages of this. This is what mine and my sons looked like last year. Last year, we were always burning. That was our team. And we'll talk about this with people who pledge money for every bird species seen. Actually, let's talk about that now. So one of the really cool ways to involve your donors is to encourage them to do a per species pledge or some other creative pledge to your team. So actually, we asked for that in our email that we sent out, and in this in our little blurb here, and people really tended to like it. We had tons of different pledges. Everything from Marcia Grand did $10 a species, which was amazing. Other people, 25 cents a species, which is amazing. So every donation is so important. Some people did $5 for every species of hummingbird. Our friend Jenny Crandall did $1 for every bird that poops in front of us. My son really liked that one. We got a few bucks out of that. My parents did 50 cents for every bird that has red in it. And they didn't specify species. That was every bird, individual bird, and we saw a lot of red-winged blackbirds, so it made my mom pay for that. But then also a lot of people just did flat donations, and you can see all the different donations that came through. It's just really incredible and inspiring to see how many people want to give and will give, from, you know, $5 to $100 to $500. It's something else.
Luke, this is Jim.
Yeah, Jim.
Did your pledges ask you any anticipated amount of species that would see?
Yes, some people did. Some people did. Most people did, actually. So I'll share that actually too. So because I got a little bit ahead of myself when it comes to talking to donors. So I'm going to come back to that. That's a good question, because yeah, some people see 100 birds in a day, and some people see 30 birds in a day. So it's a big difference, right? When it comes, if you're doing $1 or $5 or $10 a bird. But here, so just an idea of what your fundraising page could look like. And we'll go back to this. So don't let that intimidate you. Watch this YouTube video, how to just create your fundraising page. Oh, another thing that you're going to want to do is to come up with a goal. Actually, where did I go? Let me go back to this. So you want to come up with a goal, whether it's $500, $100, $1,000. I would say picking something that stretches you, is something that's also attainable. So, you know, we've all heard about, you know, goal setting and how to go about doing that. But it's important to have a goal and to be able to share that with your supporters. And I'm going to talk about your supporters here in just a second. But before I do that, I also want to share with you some of the other things about Birdathon that you can be involved in, and goals to shoot for that we've set for you. So first, we're having a big kickoff event for our Birdathon with all these different virtual events that you see right here. Everything from elf owls to an awesome presentation by Richard Crosley about some of his adventures. If you've ever heard of the Crosley ID guide, he's got some amazing stuff out there. Ornithotherapy, so about how birds relate to us, not just, you know, for our enjoyment of looking at them, but also how they affect us mentally and emotionally and spiritually. Some big day strategies that we'll talk about. I love big days. And then Karina Newsom from Georgia Audubon. She's a really awesome lady who's going to talk to us about work that she's doing with seaside sparrows and how her work there also interacts with humanity. So lots of really cool events, and these are all free for people who do a Birdathon or people who do a $50 Birdathon donation. We'll also have a really special event by, I'm not going to name the person yet, but you will really want to be involved in a mid-Birdathon virtual event with a special VIP guest that we have set up. We're going to be announcing that, I think, next week or the week after. So just be on the edge of your seat for that. We have competition categories, because who doesn't like competition, right? I love to compete. I know my son likes to compete. He likes to beat me all the time. But we have all these different competition categories that you can see the details of here. In fact, let's go there. We have, you know, special competition categories for teams who see the most birds in a day, teams who have the most creativity when it comes to doing a Birdathon in their neighborhood or in their backyard. So we have a panel of judges that will judge different Birdathons for winners in the brand new to Birdathon, home patch Birdathon, Birdathons that do the best job in using social media to talk about what they're doing. So if you're on Facebook or Instagram or any of those things, like that's a great way to get more involvement with your donors. A special category for people who are doing a birdathon outside of Arizona. So I know that there's plenty of you who love Southeast Arizona and the birds that are here and what Tucson Audubon does, but you want to conduct a birdathon where you're at in Massachusetts or London or Wisconsin or Washington State. So we encourage you to do that. And so we have that panel of judges will look at everything from not just how many birds you see, but how you go about interacting with your donors, how you go about with your creativity and the idea that you come up with. So those, and we have prizes, everything from binoculars to bottles of wine to dinner, gift certificates to different places to go get dinner or get takeout for dinner. Arizona State Parks Pass, that we handed out one of those last year. So lots of really fun prizes, Tucson Audubon swag and bird books. And then we have some extra prizes. So people who are under 18 and raise $200 or more, they'll get some special Tucson Audubon swag from our nature shop. People who raise over $500 on their birdathon, they're going to get an invitation to go out birding with me. We'll do small groups of 3 or 4 people, and we'll work together to figure out where we want to go and take a half day or a day to go birding together. Those are for people who raise over $500. So I want to go birding a lot later this year. So that means, lots of people raising money. And then if you raise over $100, you get a Birdathon t-shirt, which is always fun to have and wear around. And so there's that.
Hey, Luke, quick question.
Yeah, for sure.
For the young birder one, can the person who's under 18 be on a team with an adult, or do they have to be on their own?
They do not have to be on their own.
Okay.
So like my son he's going to turn 13 here pretty soon. He's not going to have his own fundraising page. He's just on with me. He barely even has an email address, so it wouldn't even really work for him.
Okay, that helps.
Yeah, and then so just let us know, like as you're filling out that information, there is a thing on there that says, is there someone under 18 on your team or something like that? You can click yes. So that helps us to know. And then throughout the Birdathon, as people get registered, we'll contact you, and we, as in myself and my colleague Diana Rosenblum, will ask for updates on your Birdathon, like how are things going, how many birds you've seen. And so, those folks who communicate with us, we'll share that information with the panel of judges too, so that they have an idea of like who's really involved and what's going on. And I think we're also going to have another competition category, courtesy of Splendido, our Birdathon sponsor, and it's going to be for folks 55 and over. So I know I'm still in the process of talking about that with them. So that would be a special one for folks who are in that age bracket. Let's see, any other questions?
Luke, I have a question. This is Lynn.
Yeah.
When we have the month to do our go outings, are we limited to one day, or can we bird in different areas throughout the month?
Good question, Lynn. So some people choose just a day.
Okay.
Other people choose a week, and other people choose a month. So what I would suggest is, as you decide what you want your Birdathon to look like, is before you contact your donors, is decide what that could look like.
Okay.
Because that could affect like how much they want to pledge per species, because if you have a month, there's going to be more species, so they may want to change that. But I think having that clear before you start is the best way to go about it. And then once you have it, just going for it. So,
okay. So in theory, you could go once a week for 4 weeks.
Yeah, you could definitely do it that way. So
Okay,
last year, let me show you a couple of the different creative things that people did last year. So always birding, that was us. We did just one day, one big
oh,
day.
nice.
We, for example, for a big day, Brock and I started at 2:30 in the morning, went to Reed Park and spotlighted a snow goose, went up Catalina
Okay,
Highway and listened for flammulated owls and all those different things. Birded all over Mount Lemmon, came down through Tucson, went over Marana, saw burrowing owls because someone had donated a bunch of money for burrowing owls. And then Kate went down the Santa Cruz River to down through some different parks, and then went up in the Madera Cane and Florida Cane. It was a huge day. I know that a few of these other folks did the same thing. Isolation Orioles, they did one day where it was a group of people, but they birded on their own just in a little 5-mile radius of their house. So they picked one day, and within a 5-mile radius of their house, counted all the birds that they could see in one day.
okay.
Other examples
Okay,
was like right here, Bird in Place BioBlitz. They did a whole month of not just counting birds, but counting every living thing that they found in their yards.
oh, wow.
And so it was a team of Keith Ashley, our development director, and his friend Robin. And Robin lives in California. Keith lives here in Tucson. So each of them took the whole month and just counted every living thing that they found in their yard. And so it wasn't even just birds, it was beyond birds, which is really cool.
So, look, one other question. When you put a team together, we're looking at 4 people. When you say we went once a week, do all members of the team have to participate on the day that you go birding? Or can half the team be in their part of Tucson and our half be in our half?
There's no rule on that. So,
good.
you can, the only thing that would affect is like if you birded over multiple days and multiple places with multiple people, like you just wouldn't be eligible for the big day competition category where people, but the Birdathon is totally up to you. The creativity and how you do it is totally up to you. You could definitely do it that way. So for instance, Air Force Swan, this is a group of 27 people made up of mostly people involved with our nature shop. So some staff, some volunteers, and some family, and they were all over the United States. They had people from Washington State, Arizona, Massachusetts, everywhere. And they counted birds, all the birds that they could find in a month. And so they did it that way and just combined forces with a whole bunch of people.
Okay.
It just made it clear to their supporters ahead of time. And all of them use the same, we can click on it. So all of them use the same exact fundraising page. Some teams, each person creates their own fundraising page, but other teams just have their own. And it's really simple. Once you have your fundraising page, if you just copy this link right here and put it on like your Facebook or put it in an email out to people that you want to reach out to for donations, people will just go straight to this page and can click the donate or click on the pledge pay later. And if they click on the pledge pay later, it takes them to a little sheet that they fill out with what they want to do. And then that goes to Diana so that she can work with them to make sure that that's all taken care of. So you can see they all work together on the same fundraising page. And so you could do it that way, Lynn, or you could each have your own. Either way is fine.
Okay. Thank you, Luke.
Yeah. A couple other really creative, because when it comes to a birdathon, and people love to give to things that are creative. So let me show you a couple of other really creative things. The mass birder, he counted only birds that he saw at night. So he went after owls and nightjars, and so just night birds. Focus on feathers, he just counted birds that he took pictures of on one day. As many birds that he could take pictures of in one day. Sarah counted all the birds she could find in a month. I love Lucy's. I think that refers to Lucy's warblers.
Mhm.
Luke,
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Is this page that you're showing available to us to look at, or is this something that you're fixed?
So this is last year's, so it's not like it's one that I saved so I could use an example. But the one from this year, let me see if I can find the one from this year. Here's the one from this year, which has a few of them on there. So this page right here, Jim, is accessed from the main Birdathon page. Let me go back up here. From the main Birdathon page on this team donations pledges.
Okay, good.
So if you click on this, it'll lead you to this page right here. And so you can see all of them and have an idea of what it looks like. But I was showing you, I got too many different pages up. But I was showing you this one just as an example for like what people did last year. Here's the other one I really want to show you. This is birds on a wire. This is actually my favorite one from last year. This is from Tina. And Tina, she updated her page to just thank everyone for giving. But what Tina did is she spent the entire month from a window, she could see a wire, telephone wire out from her window, and all birds would perch on that. And she was wondering how many birds would perch on that wire within the month time frame. And so that's what she was counting. She won for the home patch competition last year because our judges panel thought it was so creative to just count the birds on that wire. It was a really cool idea. We liked it a lot. So that's an idea as well. So just like whether it's in your yard or in your neighborhood, like Madera Highlands, they just counted all the birds that they saw within their Madera Highlands neighborhood in Green Valley. You could watch a bird cam, like the Patton Center bird cam, and count all the birds you see on the Patton Center bird cam on a day or during the month of Birdathon, and that could be your Birdathon if you don't want to go outside. There's so many different ways to like be creative with it. And yeah, so that's what it would look like. I'm gonna go to this. Any questions up to this point? I'm gonna talk about donors here pretty soon. Okay. So let's not forget the creativity with our donors. This is really like one of the biggest things. If we're gonna make our Birdathon awesome, it's gonna be that we're involving a lot of other people in it. So having a wide reach. I love making lists. So one thing that I'll do is I'll make a list of all the different, like, we kind of have segments of our life. Like I have my Tucson Audubon life. I have my life with, at school with my people that my kids go to school with, people I work out with, people I go to church with, people I go and birding with outside of Tucson Audubon. Like I have all these different groups in my life and family. So like not just parents or kids, but also our cousins and aunts and uncles and nieces and nephews. All we have, if we think about it, we know a lot of people, right? And we tend to talk about what we care about, and people are okay with us talking about what we care about. And they, if they care about us, they'll tend to care about the things we care about. So think about that wide reach of people that make a list of different people. And what I like to do is once I have a clear idea of what I want to do for my Birdathon, I'll start by sending out an email to those folks, or you can call them or something like that. Send out an email sharing what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and why it would be great for them to be involved, whether it's, you know, a gift of $5 or a gift of $5 of a bird species. You know, I put some different ideas of, you know, pledges, because I think people can really latch on to pledges, and what it does is it gives them buy-in to the day or the month that you're actually doing the Birdathon. So if they give a pledge, they'll want to know what you're doing, and you'll have opportunity to talk to them more about it. And so that's a big thing. But thinking about your wide reach, sharing your creativity, having a plan ahead of time, talking about the why we're doing it. We have all the resources to be able to tell them why we're doing it. If you're on social media, I would say use that as much as possible. I like to do Facebook Live stuff on the day that I'm doing my Birdathon. And so it's kind of surprising when you do Facebook Live, or you put a Facebook post up there, put some pictures on your Instagram, you know, put some hashtags on there, put the link to your fundraising site in your Facebook post. And it's surprising how many more people will give to that. Like I said, pledges are really fun. And then one of the really big things is after your Birdathon to just have really good timely follow-up, you know, expressing your gratefulness. So the day after your Birdathon, you might be tired if you're doing a big day, or, you know, but you got to get that follow-up out there. You got to say thank you to your people, because that lets them know that they were valued, that they're a part of it. It reminds them that, you know, if they did pledge, it reminds them to, you know, follow through with their pledge, and it helps them to see that, okay, you know, I pledge $1 bird. Okay, they saw 35 species. So I'll be sure to pledge, you know, pay my $35, put a link in there to where they can follow up and finish paying for that. But that follow-up is really important. We all know that. We respect people who follow up in a timely manner with us. So let's be sure to remember that. Let's see.
Luke.
Yeah,
this is
go ahead.
Kathy.
Oh, I think you just muted yourself. Yep, you just muted. Go ahead. I hear you now.
Okay, is that better?
Yeah.
Yesterday, and looking at this picture that you've got up, I'm in Keno Springs in Nogales, and I looked out my window and a big bird flew and lit on the pine tree. And at first I'm just starting this, and I thought, I wonder what that is. And I got my binoculars out, and I would almost bet that it was a caracara, because that bright orange.
Whoa, Kathy, that's awesome.
When I first saw it flying, I thought, what is that bird carrying that would be that color? You know, and then, like I said, it wasn't there that long, but I grabbed my binoculars and I got a good look at it, and I'll bet that that's what it was. And then it flew off.
Kathy, down in Keno Springs, that's a great bird.
Yeah, I thought that was I read up on it, and I thought that was a little rare. And I thought, well, you know, I might have misidentified it, but looking at all the other birds, there's nothing that really has that bright orange.
No,
and
there's
that's what
not.
caught my attention. I thought it was carrying something like a goldfish or something. I don't know.
Well, I'm glad I kept this. I almost changed the picture today, and I'm so glad I kept it up then.
Oh yeah, I am too, because I'm enjoying listening to all this. So thank you.
Yeah, for sure. So when it comes to Birdathon, the main thing is have fun. Have fun with it. Inviting people into the fun. Making people aware of what you're involved in. So remember, as you ask for donations, you can say, this is what we are doing, not so much this is what Tucson Audubon and what they are doing. But as a member or as a participant in Birdathon, you are a huge part of everything that's going on. And so as you talk to people, you can start saying we and us instead of what they are doing or what Tucson Audubon's doing, you know, you know that you're a big part of this. And so as your friends and family, you're asking people, those people you're asking to donate, they want to give something that you're a part of. And so, you know, make sure to share that. The last thing I'll cover is in regard to the question that Marcia brought up about being on a team. So usually what we do is we have expert field trip leaders that they put together. They're doing a Birdathon like outing where you can sign up to go out with a bird expert on a field trip and go out and do this. We didn't do that last year. It was, you know, April, May, right as all the stuff was hitting. It doesn't look like we're going to be doing that this year either, but there's still going to be opportunities for you if you want to, instead of creating your own team, joining a team. So here's what I would suggest is two, maybe three different things. You can start by looking to see who's already created, you know, a different fundraising page here. And if you know them, you can contact them and ask them to be a part of it.
I'll say I'm relatively new.
Another option is to talk with the other birders you know to see if they'd want to start a team and talking one of them into actually putting together the fundraising page for it. Another option is, I haven't done this yet, and I've been toying with the idea to thinking about what it would look like, is there's two different things I've been thinking. And so you guys can let me know whether you think these would be good or not. One is creating a Sweetwater wetlands team that through the month of Birdathon, we have the Sweetwater team that you could bird a day at Sweetwater, and that could be your Birdathon. And I've been trying to piece together what it could look like, but basically a Sweetwater team that somehow we could either all be birding Sweetwater at the same time on the same day or during a month, but some sort of team like that. Another option is to create like a, I haven't came up with a good idea with it, but like a virtual event team. So like we have a lot of people who are really involved with our virtual events, our Zoom presentations, and doing like a Zoom Birdathon team where we, you know, just have a fundraising page where we're birding together but separate, but we're on the same team. That's an option. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but it's been something I've been thinking about. Marcia, if you want to be on a team, I can, another option is to just tell me and I'll hook you up with someone. How's that?
That works. I wouldn't mind joining a Sweetwater team. If you're going to put one of those
Okay.
together, that's also an option. That would be a good one for me.
Maybe you and I can process a little bit what that could look like.
Okay,
We'll do that.
sounds good.
We'll do that. I'll touch base with you on that next week.
Great. Okay.
Luke, I have, I don't mean to monopolize, I have two quick questions.
Yeah,
If some of our family and friends who aren't as tech savvy, if they want to just make their check out to Tucson Audubon, how do we do that? Some will probably pledge online, some would write a check out to Tucson Audubon and I just submit it at the end.
Yeah, that's a great question. And
Okay.
so they can either go to your fundraising page and hit the green button that says donate, or
Okay.
right here, I think, am I sharing my screen right? You see this right here?
Yeah, right here, make a check. Okay.
Yep. So just down below here where it has all the different Birdathon kickoff events and below our Splendido sponsor logo, there's a little
Okay.
section about supporting a team by writing a check and where you can send it, who to make it payable to, and you can put that in your correspondence with folks.
Okay,
That's-
so Luke, if they wanted to, like, I know my 9-year-old uncle is gonna just send the Tucson Audubon check to me. So can I just collect the checks that
Yeah,
are made out to Tucson Audubon and then drop them off at one time then if people want to?
yep. We
Okay.
definitely have people who do that. That is no problem at all.
Okay, and then my last question, Luke, is as we do our Birdathon, how do we submit our species? Are we supposed to go through eBird, or how do we keep a list? And do you want dates and times, miles traveled, or how rigid is that?
It's not that rigid. So
Okay.
what I would suggest, using eBird is always good,
Sure.
but for Birdathon,
Okay.
Birdathon purposes, it should be, there's so much information on here. It's probably on here somewhere.
Sure. Okay.
And it might be on your, on the sheet that you get after you sign up. But
Okay.
for bird totals, you can send those into my colleague, Diana Rosenblum, and she keeps track of all that.
Okay. Thank you, Luke.
Diana or myself.
Okay.
And if you all have any questions throughout this whole process,
Okay.
don't hesitate to reach out to me or Diana.
Okay. So Luke, if we were doing, say my team was gonna do once a week, do we send our totals in by week, or do we send it all, can we send it all in on the last day of the Birdathon?
I'd send it in on the last day,
Good,
or
okay.
after May 9th, after you're done with
Sure.
your
Okay.
your session. And then also, if you want to sign up for the kickoff events, it's a
Mhm.
it's a separate registration. We have to do a separate registration for the kickoff events.
Okay.
So you just click on the kickoff event schedule, and then you can register for the events right here.
Great. Thanks, Luke.
Or it's also after each one here too. Any other questions that I can help with?
Yeah, Luke, this is Jim. I have several questions here, especially about the team concept here.
Yeah.
Back to your concept of participants asking you how many species you saw. Can you give us an idea of how many you saw last year during your big year, so we can sort of get a feel for what we might be telling them?
Yeah, for sure. So when we did the Cochise County Big Day, we saw 168
Wow.
years ago.
Okay.
Another time I did it with Jonathan Lutz and Keith Camper. We did along the Santa Cruz River. So we started San Rafael grasslands where the Santa Cruz River starts, and we kind of went around and then up the Santa Cruz River corridor. We saw 150 something on that day. And then last year with my son, oh shoot, I'm trying to remember. I think it was 140 something. I wonder if I put that in here. Let me look. I'm trying to remember. That was, where did I?
So more
I'm trying to
realistic
remember.
for some of us beginners is probably between 50 to 100.
Yeah. So when it comes to variety in April, it can be crazy. Like there are so many birds out that time of year. If you did a day where you went to Sweetwater and then went up to Mount Lemon, you would see 80, 90 birds. I think that'd probably be around 80 or 90 or more. I mean, it can get, let's see, Cynthia donated $1. So let's see how much Cynthia gave. 144. Yeah. So it was it was around 140. 130 something, maybe it was 130 something, 140, because she covered some of the taxes there. So it must have been 130 something.
That's good. Then back to the teams again. When I got as far as I could on signing up, and so hopefully next week I'll be able to finalize that. But
yeah,
it got into your name, and then it asked for t-shirt size and all that kind of stuff. So how do individuals, how do you get your team to be able to participate in the t-shirts and then in the kickoff event, even though they're not signed up as individuals? So.
Great questions. There's there's just so much with Birdathon. So here's what I would do is if you're putting together a team and you want everyone to be on the same fundraising page, is after you put together your team, contact Diana or just respond to the confirmation email. That'll go to Diana or to myself, I think, or maybe to both of us, and say, hey, I have 5 other people who are going to be on my team. Here are the t-shirt sizes. We expect to raise enough money, $100 per person. Everyone gets a t-shirt. So here are the t-shirt sizes. And then Diana and I will have that information of how many people are on your team. And so then we'll also know that for the other prizes too. And then when it comes for the virtual kickoff events, when you receive your confirmation for registering for Birdathon, there will be a coupon code that it'll show on there. The coupon code is actually Thrasher, no capitalization. I'll just tell you guys that because I assume all of you will do a Birdathon. So the coupon code is Thrasher, and you would just share that with everyone on your team. And you sign up for the Birdathon kickoff events, and there will be a spot there to put the coupon code Thrasher in, and that will enable them to sign up for everything for free.
Okay, perfect. Do you think if I challenge myself like $50 per Lucy warblers that set up habitat in my nesting in my new Tucson Audubon Lucy warbler boxes, they might show up this year?
Oh, I hope so. So it took 3 years for Lucy's warblers to move into my nest box.
Yeah.
So in fact, my son and I, that's one of our honey-do lists today, is to clean out the Lucy's warbler box so it's ready, because they're going to be coming back in a couple weeks. Yeah, that sounds like a great, share. You could even put that. Here's another thing. You put that in your email out to folks that you are asking for donations. If people know that you're donating to your own Birdathon, you got skin in the game, that will motivate them to say, oh, Jim's got, Jim's putting his money where his mouth is, I'll join him, something like that.
Yeah.
Any other questions that I can help with before we close up here? You guys all ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have any creative ideas? What are you thinking? What are you thinking of, Joan? What's your idea?
Unmute. Well, something around Green Valley. I don't know. We'll see. I'll talk to a couple of friends and see if we want to do a couple of days at different places, or like that, within so many miles radius of the area or something.
I think that's a pretty fun little thing, because then you have to look at the map and like, oh, there's a little pond here. Maybe I should go check that out. Forces you to some new spots.
Then we got Canoa.
Oh, go ahead.
We got Canoa, which is 2 miles from my house. So
Yep.
that could be productive.
Definitely. It's a great opportunity to raise awareness for a place that you really love. So, that's why, like in past years, I've done Birdathon just up the Santa Cruz River, because that is a place that we're really raising awareness for. We just did the one for Cochise County because that's what, we wanted to raise awareness for that. So like if you have a park.
Well, yeah, there's that Canoa Hills Trails Park, that, kind of new park, and that's like 2 blocks from my house. So
yeah,
part of it. So can walk there and see different things.
Yep.
That at Canoa necessarily too.
Yeah.
For me, living here at Saddlebrook Ranch, there's such a interest in it. So it's going to create a lot of interest of the people just to be aware of all the birds that are here at the ranch that they don't even know about. So I'm up over 140 species already, just at the ranch in 7 months. So
Yeah, that's awesome, Jim. And I think that would be, you know, if you just do your birdathon right there in Saddlebrook Ranch and like raise awareness just right there, like that could be really big. That could be fun.
well, right now I've got some team members and we're going to start here, but then we're going to go up to Oracle and then out to Santa Cruz Flat at the end of the day. So we should be able to pick up a few, hopefully 100 species. We'll see.
Yeah, I think you should, you know, especially like, you know, think about, well, there's so many different things when it comes to doing a big day, like you have to think about like what time you're doing most of your driving. You want to make sure you're not doing your driving during the peak birding hours. There's a lot of different elements when it comes to that. It'd be kind of fun. Well, I think that's been about it. I saw Leave just join us and then she walked away, but yeah, unless anyone has any other questions, you know, I recorded all this. I'll send it out to you. I'll probably on Monday. I think I'm gonna wrap up my work after this. But I'll send it out to you on Monday if you want to check it out again. And if you have any questions, just be sure to let me know. Always here to help out.
Thank you, Luke.
Thanks, Lou.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Luke.
for sure. Kathy, I'm so happy you saw that character. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting.
Hey, Leave, I see that you just joined us, but we're just wrapping up.
Oh no, I'm just thinking about it. What time did you start? I thought you started at 10.
Yeah, it's 11 o'clock. Are you here in Arizona?
Yes, I am. No wonder my stomach is telling me it's lunchtime. I'm so sorry. I've been so busy. Can you please send me the link
Yes.
and I can watch it